Okay. Hello, world. Hello, world beyond my doorstep. Um, Welcome to episode 4 of Entropy Sorted. Uh, I know that it's been a while since I made an episode or recorded a podcast, but actually it hasn't. If that means anything. Anyways, let me start by apologizing to my only fan. Um, I will strip in the next episode, I promise. Now, that is for my only fan. I think you know who you are, by the way. And by the way, I gotta stop saying by the way so many times, but I'm also doing well. Thank you for asking. I should have replied to your comment. I just saw it tonight before I recorded this, and I figured I would address it in this recording. But to my only fan, thank you for asking. I am doing well. I hope you are doing well as well. Um, well as well, whatever. Okay. I just got over being sick, so I might sound a little funny, and my brain is a little bit fried because I don't handle being sick very well. I kind of act like a little bitch, a little baby. So, why has it been so long? Why did it take me this long to record episode 4? Well, the truth is, I actually recorded a bunch of episode 4s. I recorded episode 4 many a time. Some were long and rambling, and some were 10 minutes. Some were just 2-minute snippets that I thought I might splice all this together. So why didn't I do it? Why didn't I splice it together? Why didn't I publish any of that earlier stuff? Well, because of scruples. Because I have scruples. And I've discovered that there's a difficulty that I face when it comes to podcasting or any creative endeavor. And that is, I want it to be organic, right? And so I've spent the last few weeks thinking of different things that I can talk about, different ideas that I thought were interesting or significant or whatever. But all of these thoughts and ideas that I had sort of, parsed through were provoked or inspired by events in my life at that time. And I felt like I gained some real wisdom. And if I was ever to engage with somebody who was like asking about these events, then it would be one thing. But for me to just recall it and then be like, oh, you know what? Let me try and talk about this in a way that, so that I can like share this information. I mean, it came across to me as preachy and inorganic, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to record something that I was like, this is this. I mean, I'm not going to say that it like when I rewatched the footage, it didn't feel like staged or whatever. I mean, it felt organic to watch, but to me, it was like, yeah, that wasn't like it. Like I know that nobody else would know, but I knew like that was staged or, yeah, I don't know how to describe it. So anyways, then I was stuck with this struggle of, okay, well, what are you going to talk about, right? Like if you don't want to like talk about certain revelations or lessons or teachings or whatever, because they haven't arrived organically, then what the heck are you supposed to say? Which, what am I supposed to say? Pfft, that's never a problem for me. I've always got something to say, but yeah, like that question extends to the question of, and the whole point of this channel is, maybe other people will benefit from some of the wisdom that you've got to share. So like now you're just not going to share, any of your experiences. Is that like really what's going to happen? Yeah. And so, I had to sort through all this stuff. And if you care, the answers that I came up with were actually, the answers that I came up with were a topic for this episode. So, one of the topics of this episode is I am, and we've kind of briefly touched on, being stuck, right? And like life not seeming to go anywhere or whatever. But I feel like I've landed myself in, a vacuum. Because my entire life, up until the last, I don't know, 6 to 8 months, every single day, I would find some new lesson, in life. Or, I would find some old lesson that is reiterating itself. Every human interaction I would have, I would see this person treating that person a certain way. Or, I would see this or that. Like, I would experience this or I would wind up in that situation. And it was like every single day there was like I could make it a learning experience. But the past 6 months have been difficult for me because somehow I'm not having those experiences and situations, and the weird thing is it was like it didn't matter if all I did that day was hang out at the house and then go grocery shopping and then come home. Like while I was out grocery shopping, I was gonna say something awkward or do something awkward or do something fun. Like I was gonna, find something to reflect on, for better or for worse. And not intentionally, like it was always just something that happened organically. But yeah, for the past 6 months, or even maybe a little more, it's like I'm in this echo chamber where it's like every single day. I mean, I'm still putting up with shenanigans. Don't get me wrong, but that was another topic of discussion. I don't want this podcast to just be me bitching all the time, about work, but yeah, I do have shenanigans that I can talk about. But anyways, so it's like lately though, it's like every day, you know, I'm I go to work and I have completely predictable interactions. All of my interactions are predictable. And then I come home and, like every single day seems so predictable to the point where it's like I'm tempted to just do something unpredictable to shake things up. Which I mean, I'm not going to like I'm not going to be disruptive for the sake of being disruptive. But yeah, so it's like I keep trying to reflect and grow every day the way that I feel like I have my whole life. But every day it's like, holy crap, like everything I have to reflect on is the exact same as it was the day before and the day before and the day before. Like there was no new information, or there was no old lessons that resurfaced, except for the same tired lessons that I could pull from every single day. Yeah. So part of how have I been is mundane. And that doesn't even mean boring, right? Like, it just means the same, because every day is fraught with bullshit. Like I was saying, for example, I work in research and development. My boss sent me a part that he wanted prototypes of, and we use an outside source. It's a third party company, and they make the thing we want and they send it back to us. So he sends me the file and he asks me to get it quoted. Well, this company we work with has a brand new quoting platform or whatever. Brand new. We've never used it. They've barely used it. Brand new. So I'm like, okay, boss, well, this isn't the old system that they used to use. It's a brand new system, so it might slow things down. And, I gave him that warning up front. And I still got it, sorted out the same day. Right? I called the rep that we work with. He walked me through it all. We got everything sorted out. Well, the next day, the rep called me and said, "Oh, our sheet metal team is actually out today, so we can't process the sheet metal part today. We're going to have to wait until tomorrow." And then our purchasing group didn't overnight the package the way we requested. And so today, I go to my boss and I'm like, "Hey, boss, I know you wanted those parts by this day, but their sheet metal team was out, so that set it back a day. And our purchasing group didn't overnight it, even though we explicitly asked for it to be overnighted." And he's like, "Oh my God, you cannot let this happen again. Do not let this happen again. Like, this is just unacceptable." And actually, there was a little bit of variance today because I wasn't having it. Like, I was kind of fed up with this type of, like, superiority, like, "Oh, you fucked up." Like, I was just I had enough. So I kind of cut him off. And I was like, "Well, boss, I can't control the fact that the sheet metal team was out. And I don't control our purchasing group. And everything that I had my hands on was submitted promptly, despite this brand spanking new system, which I told you up front I was expecting a little grace for." And he's like, "Well, you need to go and let someone else know then that it's unacceptable. This is unacceptable. You need to go tell someone." And it's like, dude, like, fuck off, okay? Like, we've all got jobs, right? Like, yeah, sure. If the purchasing group fucks up and they don't request it to be overnighted and we wanted it overnighted, yeah, like, hey guys, you messed this up. But this attitude of, like, I need to drop the hammer, I need to get self-righteous and, act with, like, indignant, like, how can my team be? And it's like, bro, like, it's not like you run a tight ship. Like, you're sloppy as fuck. Yeah. Sorry. Anyways, I guess this kind of tells you how I've been, because I don't think I've been this, like, animated or fired up. But I'm kind of tired of. I get restless in life. I say that I've got a gypsy soul, right? Because I was a military brat. So, I lived in Alabama, California, Tennessee, North Carolina, like 5 schools between 1st and 5th grade. Like, so I like to tell people that I've just got a gypsy soul. But, like, the essence, like, what it boils down to is that I get a little bit worn out with same shit, different day. Like, I mean, unless it's productive shit, right? Like, let's say, our plan is to dig a tunnel and every day we chip a little bit more away for this tunnel. That's not the, monotonous shit that drives me insane. It's like the monotonous bullshit because, like, I don't like bullshit. So I sort it out. Entropy sorted, chaos sorted. Like, that's kind of my whole thing. And so I'm kind of getting sick and tired of having the same conversations. I mean, like, I've already had like 3 sit downs with my boss about, like, usually me being the problem because I'm, confrontational. But it's like, look, man, like, I'm not going to deal with whatever. Anyways, now I've totally lost my thread and my train of thought. Oh, so yeah, that's how I've been. And the reason why it's taken me so long is because I don't want every single episode to be filled with what the last, I guess, 10, 15 minutes has been filled with. And I don't want to talk about topics that I just pluck from my memory, because then I feel like a poser, right? Because, like, then it's like, oh, hey, this was an interesting topic, and, like, oh, hey, this got a lot of people interested. Oh, hey, I had a really engaging discussion about this topic. Let me use all of these things to get as many views as possible. And it's like, well, isn't that the name of the game? You've got a podcast, right? Isn't the name of the game to get as many views as possible? No, it's not. The name of the game for me is to do the thing right. And I don't have to explain what that means. But trying to pander is not doing it right. So, yeah, that's where I've been. That's why I've been gone. Okay, well, you're recording now, Robert. 17 minutes of saying absolutely nothing, same as usual. Nothing's changed, Robert. What's the big deal, Robert? Oh, entropy. My name is Robert, by the way. Well, a lot. I'm not going to tell you how I decided to circumvent these hang-ups and stalls and indecisions, but it didn't work because I thought, well, let's just write it all out. And so this episode is supposed to be outlined. And before I hit record, I read through it all again and decided, no, I don't like it. And I'm not using any of it. Well, I guess I'm using elements. For example, if you'll notice in the title, instead of being entropy 4, it's entropy 4.0, right? I added a significant figure. Why did I do that, you might ask? Well, because I added some significant topics to this episode. Just kidding. No, that's not at all why. I added a significant figure to the episode number because I decided that in the future, I might want to do an episode about, I do episode 12, right? And by episode 48, I want to do another episode on 12 from a different perspective, or, expanded or whatever. I don't want episode 49 to be the same subject as episode 12, right? Like, so it's going to be 12.1, 12.2. Additionally, let's say I record episode 5. 2 years later, somebody happens to watch episode 5 for the first time and has a really good thought-provoking question, and I want to address it. I'm not going to record episode 246 about episode 5. I'm going to record episode 5.1 and shout out to this comment that has provoked episode 5.1. So, that is why I have added significant figures. There is one tangible change to the podcast. Let's see. Is anything else I wrote down worthwhile? Oh, I'm going to start another... I'm already neglecting the hell out of this podcast, and I'm going to start another one. But another reason why this episode was so long in the making is all of the things that I thought, not all, but quite often I would think to talk about religious ideas, ideals, or topics. And I kind of want to leave. I don't mind talking. Like, I'm not like, oh, I can't say religion. I can't mention religion. I can't mention God. It's not like I want it out of this podcast. But in-depth discussion of it, I kind of wanted to give it its own full channel, avenue. I wanted to give it my full attention. And so I've decided that the other podcast is going to be called For God's Sake. And that podcast will be recorded for God's sake. Oh, hard, Robert, you're so amusing. Thank you. All right, so significant figures. I'm still living a life in static white noise. New podcast. I don't know when I'm going to record the first episode, by the way. I don't know how long they're going to be. I don't know anything about it, but I know that it's going to be a separate podcast, and it's going to be called For God's Sake. A bunch of just nonsense. I mean, like, I think there's some interesting topics and ideas. And if I had somebody face to face, then I might spark something, but a lot of this stuff is just out there. For example, atheists will argue that wisdom itself is what's important, and that religion only offers old wisdom with a bunch of fairy tales. They also argue that being religious limits you because you only have the wisdom in your religious texts to reference, whereas atheists are free to learn all wisdom. That's what they say. And then counter arguments and so on. And it's actually not about being right and wrong. It's just about breaking down both sides of the perspective. But just nonsense. But I'm not going to talk about any of the other crap that's in that book. So what else? There is new stuff. There is. Yeah. Here's an interesting development. And actually, I have a grand finale for this episode, by the way. So look forward to that. But my pastor, because I was just thinking about and talking about church, my pastor reached out to me, and our church has things called life groups, right? I mean, and to other churchgoers, some churches seem to participate in this kind of thing, some don't. Most do, I think, so you probably already know what it is, but life groups are basically just like, hey, Sunday morning you got service, and then there's Bible studies galore out there, right? But like, do you have a support network? Like, do you have a community? Do you have like a band of brothers? Do you have a group of homies, basically? Because let's face it, after you get out of school as an adult, you form some of those relationships at work, but quite often they're limited, unsatisfactory, or inappropriate. And so, the church forms these life groups to be, yeah, like basically just social groups, like you would form in school or whatever. Anyways, so my pastor reached out and asked me if I would be willing to co-lead a life group. What life group, you might ask? Well, the singles life group, which my younger sister, who is married, by the way, finds hilarious because you wouldn't ask, according to her, you wouldn't ask someone who you thought might end up in a relationship anytime soon to lead a singles life group, right? Like, the person that you pick to lead a singles life group is somebody that you're pretty sure is going to be single for a long time. So, thank you for that, brat. Referring to my younger sister. Not gonna be single forever. I might actually, though. I just might. But anyways, so yeah, I've been asked to co-lead a singles life group, which I agreed to do, just because. And so far, oh God, it just gets worse, guys. It gets worse. So far, I'm 32. I'm the only male in the group. Right? Sweet. Sounds cool. And I think like mid 40s, mid to upper 40s. I think there may be one girl. It's me and I think 5 or 6 girls so far. And there may be one in her mid to lower 40s, and all the rest are between like upper 40s and 60s. So I'm running a geriatric pimping service. That's a joke, by the way. If oh gosh, I hope my life group doesn't see this. You guys are not geriatrics. You're all beautiful women, and you're actually very inspirational, every single one of you. And then also, I'm sorry, God, if you're listening to this. I didn't mean to call my life group my geriatric hose. I mean, I did call them my geriatric hose, but I didn't mean to. It was an accident. So there's that. Let's see, what else? Oh, this is better, Like sitting here saying what else and just kind of rambling on about bullshit. Honestly, like I'd rather post this absolute mumbled garbage than all of like the high school essays that I wrote and recorded, right? Like, not to say I'm not going to get there to a structured, orderly format. I will get there. But at the moment, I don't want to feel confined. At the moment, I want this thing that I'm doing here. I want it to absolutely have no rules and be free form. And and I want it to morph and change, and I want it to test limits, and I want it to basically return data. That's what I want it to do. Because when you enter into a steady system, you don't get a lot of data out. there's not a lot of entropy to be sorted, if you know what I mean, right? Like then you've just got a lean, mean information delivery machine. Information delivery being me to the camera. But I don't want a lean, mean information from me to the camera machine right now. I want information for me right now, which means just doing whatever I want to do. So yeah. Anyways, I'm at 30 minutes, and I think I've said all I wanted to say. If you have controversial opinions, ideas, or conspiracies, if you have unpopular opinions, ideas, like if you've got anything you want to say, or if you are a staunch supporter of something that is basically in your mind socially agreed upon, like unanimously. Let's say, for example, oh, I almost got fired up again. Don't drive slow in the fast lane. The left lane is for passing. If you're cruising at the speed limit, right, and there's a ton of space ahead of you in that left lane, then get the fuck out of the left lane. Get into the right lane. Or hang out in the left lane, but when you see someone come up behind you, get into the right lane and let them go, and then get back over to go slow. Well, not slow, but never go slow in the left lane. Anyways, that is, I think, a unanimously agreed upon truism. Like, that is a thing. And yet, still, there's retards out. Excuse me, not retards. I don't like. I really don't like that. Well, it's a funny word, actually. But I don't like that it disparages handicapped people. My mom used to work with kids with autism a lot, and they're just beautiful kids. Anyways. Oh, no, actually, you know what? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. We're at 32 minutes now. I am not about to get to my special surprise grand finale because I just remembered there's something else I wanted to dive into in this episode. But where was I? I was talking about the retards. Just kidding. I'm feeling irreverent today. Anyways, the point that I was getting at was whether you feel like you've got this opinion that is basically law, or you've got this opinion that defies what everyone finds, what everyone else has accepted, whatever. You get it. Anyways, talk about it. That's where I want to go with this. Talk about it in the comments. Not because I want to play the devil's advocate, but I will. But because if you feel strongly about something, whether you feel like it is controversial or whether you feel like it is socially agreed upon, but, importantly, you feel strongly, talk about it in the comments. And not because, I need content for my podcast. Because I'm going to find some stuff to talk about. I'm going to find shit to talk about. And if I don't, I'll just talk about nothing. And you know that I will. So don't do it for that reason. Do it because I genuinely enjoy the introduction of a topic, the coming to understand the various dispositions relating to this topic. The empathizing with each one and sussing out the pros and the cons of all. Like supporting every side until you can honestly say, well, you know what? When I supported that side, it felt like the most right. Because, of course, like I love that process. So do it for my amusement. Entertain me, puppets. Man, I'm really feeling combative today. It's because I'm sick. I don't deal well with being sick. I have a cold, and I'm acting like it's COVID, which I'm acting like it's the flu, because COVID ain't shit. By the way, here's an unpopular opinion slash controversial idea slash thought slash topic. But COVID, I don't know if I've launched into politics yet. I don't know if that's a can of worms that I really want to open, because, oh man, once I do, I can't really go back, and then everyone will hate me. Everyone universally, not one side or the other. Both sides will hate me, because I'll pretty much just spend the entire time talking about how either side of the political spectrum that you find yourself on, the fact that you find yourself on that political spectrum at all, from left to right, means that you are, worst case scenario, an idiot. Best case scenario, gullible, or easily deceived. And I say that because what people think of today as being Republican or Democrat or left wing or right wing or whatever is basically an identity. I'm a Democrat. That means a lot about you, right? I'm a Republican. That means a lot about you. And most importantly, from a negative standpoint, least importantly, worstly, what that means about you is that within reason, right? Like everybody's going to have their little bugaboos, but within reason, you will accept and support anything that your party says or thinks or claims or feels, with very, very, very little thought into whether or not that is your conclusion, right? So basically it's like, I'm a Republican. All right, this is the Republican stance on this issue. Well, that's how I feel about that issue. Well, okay, this is the stance on this issue. Well, yeah, okay, the Republican stance, I'm a Republican, that's my stance on this issue. And it's like, okay, well, what if you didn't know what the Republican stance on this issue was, and you had to really think it through, right? It's not quite so intuitive, because the Republicans are the conservatives, right? And then the Democrats are supposed to be the super progressive ones, but in a lot of ways, the Democrats want to preserve elements of our constitutional rights, right? The Democrats, well, the Democrats are much more pro true freedom, in my opinion, which I like that, right? But they're also a bunch of whiny fucks, right? And so I hate you too. Don't think I'm complimenting you here. Like you guys, the Democrats are the snakes. Like they're the sneaky, backsliding ones. Like the Republicans, on the other hand, they are the more honest of the two, but they're also the more closed-minded of the two. Like they're the ones who are like, this is the way that I've been, and this is the way I've always been, and this is the way I'm gonna be. And it's like, you know what you're dealing with, right? Like you know when you talk to this person, right? Like there's not like double meanings. There's not like they're just what they appear to be. Which is sad because it's a political group. However, if you listen to me describing this, it sounds like I'm describing a some demographic, right? Like I sound like I'm being a racist, right? Like if if being a Republican was a race and being a Democrat was a race, right? Like I would be very racist against both of these races. Thank God they're not. They're just political groups. And if you got your feelings hurt by anything I said, then fuck you. Because it's a political group. It's not who you are. Do you understand that? It's a political group. It is not who you are. And if your feelings are personally hurt by me talking shit about this political group, then you need to evaluate if you are an individual or if you are a puppet or if you are just, I'm not gonna, you catch more flies with honey, but you need to evaluate if anything that I've said hurt your feelings personally. And you don't have to admit this to anybody, but think about it to yourself. Consider the possibility that you liked the feeling of community and safety and being accepted so much that you just took this political party's identity and made it your own. And that it's not really, truly your identity. Your identity isn't truly, really a Democrat or a Republican. You just like belonging to a group. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to church, right? People could say the same thing about me. The difference is I've thought it through. So I encourage you to do the same thing. Anyways, so I promised that this wasn't going to be over as quickly as I had thought. And it wasn't to talk about politics. It was actually to talk about recommendations. If you like audiobooks, if you like movies, everybody likes movies. Well, that's pretty much it. Audiobooks and movies. Then this section is going to be for you. So I want to talk about a movie called A Real Pain. It's got, I'm going to butcher this guy's name, Macaulay Culkin, I think. He's the Home Alone guy. He used to be America's sweetheart. And then he got addicted to heroin or something. I don't know. I'm just spreading rumors. I don't know what his story is at all. So don't repeat that. But, it's got that guy in it. And then it's got the weird guy who, the archetypical, like, nerdy guy, that basically will forever be known as the Facebook guy. Like the dude who plays the Facebook guy. And actually I think he plays Steve Jobs too. So let's think of him as Steve Jobs, not fuck, what is the Facebook guy's name? I can't believe I forgot the Facebook guy's name. It's like Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah. So the guy that plays Mark Zuckerberg, that everybody knows immediately, like, oh fuck, yeah, I know who that is. It's A Real Pain stars those two guys. And I'm just gonna tell you about the movie because I'm very, very anti spoiler, but this isn't the kind of movie that, you know, is the value of this movie isn't in its plot line. The plot can be stated very upfront in 5 words. The value of the movie is the human experience contained within this one sentence plot. So, two Jewish brothers, their are two Jewish cousins. Their grandmother dies. Their grandmother was a Holocaust survivor. In her will, she left them some money to go back to Poland and basically tour Poland and see the home that she grew up in or whatever. Anyways, I recommend you watch this movie because I liked it. Macaulay Culkin or whatever his name is, I resonated a lot with his character, but not entirely. His character, at several points in the movie, struck me as very bipolar, and very I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it and have that movie fresh in my brain to give you like a really good. I mean, like I should have been dedicating some thought to talking about this movie before now, and it's just kind of coming out. But I his outbursts, I don't identify with, and his sort of thoughtless and super inconsiderate behavior at times, I don't really identify with. However, he does have a lot of other toxic traits that I'm like, fuck, that is me. 100%, that's me. So I'm not just saying that I only identified with his good traits, but I didn't really identify with some of his a little bit more exaggerated. Like, okay, if you do watch the movie, like when he's burping at dinner, and then flinging a fork, to me, there are much better ways to throw a tantrum. I don't like the way he throws his tantrums. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Is like, I think I'm a little more sophisticated and refined about how I throw my tantrums. But I identify so much with this character because he tries to kill himself. Again, not a spoiler. Watch the movie, you'll understand. Oh yeah, it didn't matter that I knew all this stuff, like, because that's not the value of the movie. But so he's like, even when he's like acting abrasive and just kind of being a dick, and just even when he's just really like rotten, and it seems like everybody is intrigued or like oh, he seems to form these real connections. And Mark Zuckerberg, on the other hand, he's like, just a very, very, very normal person, and he can't understand like why are you guys rewarding this behavior? Well, why are you guys celebrating him? Like, why do you guys all seem to like him so much for like being this way? Like at one point he says like, because the unstable dude is expressing sadness or mourning a topic, whatever. And he's like, I just feel like there's a time and a place, for people to mourn, and or like for people to express grievance and blah blah blah. And it's just like, it's all very professional, and it's all very just normal. And like this guy's whole character, Zuckerberg, that is not the Macaulay Culkin guy. And the reason why I relate to this character so much is because at one point the very normal guy is like, you don't know what I would give, like just for a day, to be like you, right? Like to be able to walk into a room and just start a conversation with people and just and establish meaningful connections with people, in seconds, right? Like like you learned the TSA lady's dad does this thing, like to be able to talk to people that like you don't understand what I would give to be like that just for a day. And the Macaulay Culkin guy, he like kind of like scoffs and rolls his eyes as if to say like, bro, you don't know what you're wishing for. And I mean, like, I understood that very, very, very well. And being that this guy tried to commit suicide, that's a theme in the movie. You would think that Mark Zuckerberg would pick up on the fact that it comes with a burden. And that burden is that essentially Macaulay Culkin is an empath who thinks and feels things very deeply. And it gives him the ability to detect emotions in people that Zuckerberg couldn't detect. And it gives him the ability to connect with people on deeper levels than Zuckerberg is capable of connecting with these people, right? But at the end of the movie, Zuckerberg goes home to his normal family and lives a normal, comfortable, happy life. And I'm not going to spoil the ending for the other guy, but it's not that, and so it's like, okay, Mr. Normal Guy with your normal family and your normal life and your normal thoughts and your normal, behavior and everything normal, right? And you're sitting there like, oh, I wish I could just for a day, I want to be like you. And it's like, no, you don't, dude, because it's like stressful. Like when you sincerely connect with and empathize with people, and when you sincerely feel things on a deep level, right? When you're experiencing them, like that's, I mean, it's good and bad. I wouldn't trade it. Like I wouldn't want to be any other way. But I quite often contradict that statement and wish that I were the other way. I wish that I was a little bit more just bland, like normal individual, professional, like, I don't know. Anyways, it's a really good movie. The movie is called A Real Pain. Okay. So that I talked about that movie for so long that I will not recommend any other movies in this episode. But why am I carrying on with this recommendation? I've already lost everyone's attention. Okay, so audiobooks. If you're looking for interesting audiobooks, I have got you, brother. And here I am not getting you, brother. Oh, fuck. Dude, Pyrenees? Piranesi. If you see a book, and actually I found it on YouTube for free, as a matter of fact. Well, I have YouTube Premium, but whatever. But I think it's called Piranesi. And that book it's great. Very psychological, twisty-turny, kind of. That was an excellent book. Piranesi. Old Country. Another hidden gem, or maybe, I don't know, like I live under a rock, so maybe it's popular, but Old Country is it's fucking awesome. I'm trying not to cuss as much, but that's how good this book was. It's fucking awesome. And that one's got to do with Native American spirits, but also U.S. military. Well, ex-Marine. An ex-Marine retires and he goes out to live on a ranch. It's Old Country. Fantastic. If you are into fantasy, then, I've got a recommendation. And if you're not, then keep your opinions to yourself. I don't know. I don't know why I said it like that. Because I was already feeling insecure. Like, I'm into fantasy. Don't make fun of me. The Name of the Wind. Oh my gosh. The Name of the Wind is probably one of the best book series that I've ever read or listened to. And I mean, I've listened to like across all kinds of genres, and I'm just talking the quality of The Name of the Wind within its genre is better than the quality of other books within their genres, right? Like, I'm not saying, The Name of the Wind is better than the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series, right? They're completely different genres. So I'm not trying to compare apples to oranges. I'm trying to compare within apples and within oranges, right? This is an exceptional apple. That's what I'm trying to say. Listen to The Name of the Wind. You won't regret it. So we got Pierre Nisi, Old Country, The Name of the Wind. Let's see, what else have we listened to? There is The Myth of Sisyphus. I went through a pretty low period, and I was thinking a lot about death. And The Myth of Sisyphus is actually a philosophical approach to analyzing suicide. The first half of it's good, really. The second half of it, he's just rambling about vacations. Like, he just takes a bunch of vacations and he rambles about these vacations and sticks it in a book that is supposed to be about the philosophical considerations of suicide. So I wouldn't waste my time getting to the second half of that book, but the first half is pretty good. And they push up my glasses. Here One Moment was a good book, but it's kind of housewifey. I don't know if you're into those sorts of books. Same with Intermezzo. Those are Sally Rooney and Leanne Moriarty. Let's see. What else do I want to recommend? Oh, if you just like cheeky old people, because I do love my geriatrics. Shout out to my ladies in singles group. Listen to the Thursday Murder Club. Oh, the Thursday Murder Club. It's a classic. Pretty much all of the Cormoran Strike books were pretty good. And more. If anybody reads any of the books or listens to any of the books that I just recommended, please let me know. Let me know what you thought of it. And let me know if you want me to never recommend books again. But I've got about 130 titles in my Audible library. And that is nothing. Because if I'm going to be honest with you guys, YouTube will, like, especially when a book just comes out, you can almost always find the full-length audiobook on YouTube for free. So most of the books I listen to are just on YouTube, and then a couple months later they end up getting removed, but I'm pretty quick at the draw. But I've also gone through pretty much all the classics using like LibriVox. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of LibriVox. It's basically just like random people reading for whatever reason. I think sometimes it's like a school project because you'll have like one 12-year-old read a chapter and then another 12-year-old to read a chapter. And It's kind of hard to deal with, but yes, any of the classics are published for free on LibriVox. And of course, you can also go through, the library app or whatever, but there's ways to get access to books. So don't be a nitwit. So, anyways, we are right now 1-0 at an hour. So it's time for the grand finale that I keep promising. Okay, sorry. I had to pause to sniff and swallow loogies and basically just be generally gross. All right, the grand finale. So my whole entire life, everyone who's known me, like really known me, right? Like the type of known me where they get to see me at home acting, acting out as if there's nobody watching. They all agree that I have no rhythm, which is sad because I'm a music lover. I love music. Of course, music is a very emotional expression. And it's also, I'm big into classical. I'm big into variety. I don't know. Music just speaks to the soul. But everyone in my family, all of my close friends, everyone who knows me, they all agree that I have no rhythm. So naturally, although I've been a big appreciator of music my whole life, I've never really tried to partake in it, right? I certainly don't dance. I'm not a dancer. And my mother has warned me about singing. Apparently, she feels personally responsible for the damage done by my singing. And so she has threatened me with physical violence not to sing because, the blood is on her hands. Anyways, why am I telling you this? Well, about a month ago, I noticed I had some extra points on an old credit card and that I could order one of these things. And one of those things was... Can you guess? One of those things was a guitar. One of the things on the list of things you could order. And I paused to vape real fast. Not because I wanted to hide it, but because I didn't want you guys to have to sit there and listen to nothing while I was vaping. And then I felt guilty and I felt like I had to confess. So why am I telling you? I have no rhythm. I have no rhythm my whole life. Okay. The reason is I'm 32 years old my entire life. It's not that I've just been told that I've got no rhythm. I've got two left feet and I cannot sing to save my life. Oh, what's the song? I'm not even going to try, actually. Yeah, because my mom, I forgot, she'll attack me. Anyways, but I've loved music. So about a month ago, I bought a guitar. I didn't buy it. I got it with points on a credit card. And I've been practicing with this guitar for about a month. Really, a little less than a month because, I think I took like a week off or something. Dude, those calluses, man, they're not kidding. But the reason why this is a grand finale is because this just goes to show you that anybody can learn anything, okay? And if you're interested in music, if you can't sing and dance, right? If you feel like you have no rhythm, that does not mean that you cannot play an instrument. You can definitely play an instrument. And I wish that I had learned this lesson when I was like young, right? When I was like 15, 16. Like I wish that I picked up playing a guitar when I was like 15, 16. Because, yeah. So I'm going to play for you guys. And again, I've owned this thing for about a month. I've been practicing for less than a month. But for this performance, I am going to break one of my cardinal rules, kind of. And I'm going to do a little bit of editing to this video before I send it out. Because I have learned the introduction to a song, and I've learned the beginning of a solo to the song. And so I've never actually recorded myself playing the introduction and then played the solo over it before. And I think I'm going to do that for you guys for the first time. But keep in mind, I'm not going to do a million takes. I'm doing this live. I'm just going to, after the fact, go back and kind of overlap some things. And also keep in mind that I've owned this guitar for about a month. So if I was going to do like 10 takes, I'd probably get it perfect. Well, not perfect for a beginner. But I expect that I'm going to F up a few times. So anyways, without any more awkward further ado, I'm not going to say. Bonus points to anybody who has listened to all of this bullshit, and you get double extra credit bonus bullshit points, if you can name this song. This is nerve-wracking. I'm gonna play for. I mean, I've recorded some stuff and sent it to my sister, but the one who makes fun of me for being a leader of a singles life group. I hate you and I love you at the same time. Okay, so because I'm playing the introduction, which is supposed to be background when the solo starts, I'm going to move the microphone real far away. All right. I'm also about to get comfy. All right, you know what? I'm going to start over. Here we go. Damn it. All right. This is the last take. If I mess up, I'm just going to keep playing on through it. And you're just going to have to deal with it because third time's the charm. And if I don't play it right this time, then screw it. Actually, that didn't count. Hold on. Okay, so I tried to edit the video so that I like looped the intro and then like played the solo over it. Um, but the solo sounds terrible, and it's incomplete, and the intro sounds terrible. I mean, like during practice, sometimes I nail it, sometimes I don't, but that is certainly not nailing it. Anyways, I'm still pretty pleased with myself for, barely a month's worth of, uh, guitar experience. Like, literally, this guitar is the first time I've ever really tinkered with the guitar. I've owned it for a month, and, in a month's time, I've gone from absolutely no knowledge to I know the basic chords, um, A, E, G. I know the strings, C, D. Um, so yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I'm pretty pleased with myself. But yeah, editing this video though took way longer. All I did was duplicate a section, lower the volume of the duplicated section, and then put the stinking solo over it. And God, I've been at it for like an hour now. Anyways, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. That's my new skill. There's your grand finale. Ta-da! Uh, if you want to pick up a new hobby, learn a new skill, you can do it. Because if I can learn to play the guitar, uh, at least this well, not that this is well, but if I can learn to do what you just saw, um, then anybody can learn to do anything. So, anyways, until next time.